Do a bit of movie guff.
I do a bit of movie guff. So I watched all the Oscar movies leading up to last week's Oscars.
Oh yeah.
Which, by the way, I don't have any real comment on. They were all fine. there were no, what's that one? What the fuck?
What about the do we think the main event was a work, brother?
No. I was happy Moonlight won.
No, I mean the chicanery.
No, I don't think it was a work. I think it was. I've never been more embarrassed watching it. I nearly wanted to hide behind my couch out of embarrassment watching it.
That's horrible.
Oh, it was like The Office times a million, basically.
God.
Cringing, and not in the way that cringe is used on the internet nowadays. Proper cringeworthy. So this week, I've kind of only been watching lighter movies to kind of get myself out of, because I was kind of burned out on Oscar style movies. A lot of them are quite heavy. I try to burn through a lot of them very quickly. Kind of doesn't sour you on movies necessarily, but you kind of don't want to watch those kind of movies for a little while. So I watched the Lego Movie first of all.
Oh,
Which I have on Blu-ray. I think that's like the perfect movie to kind of clean your palate after watching 16 Oscar movies in a row. Is the Lego Movie, not Lego Batman? Don't confuse. The original Lego Movie, which I have on Blu-ray, which I love. Definitely doesn't start very well. I don't think I noticed this as much the first time I watched it, but the start of it is very, very generic. Kids movie fare, and the longer it goes, the better it does get. It only really gets going once you meet all the other characters, Batman, Unikitty, and stuff like that. But it's great. It's so good. Love Lego Movie. I have watched 2 movies this week which I hadn't seen before. So this is 2 movies I'm watching for the first time. First of them was Mulan, the 1998 Disney movie. Which
never seen it.
I'd never seen it before. I was kind of told that I had to watch it by Natty, and it is actually quite good. It's not up there, with your Aladdins and Lion Kings and all that. Although we all know what Joe thinks of Lion King, but Mulan definitely towards the higher end of the Disney movies. Does have one song in it, I'll Make a Man Out of You, which is like right up there with, I described it as the in Pocahontas has Colors of the Wind is like its big song. Make a Man Out of You is kind of that of Mulan, where it's like definitely the high point of the movie and the best song in the movie. I guess it's the Let It Go of Mulan, so to speak. But yeah, I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. Eddie Murphy's in it, obviously, as a wisecracking dragon. I don't think he's quite not even as good as he is in Shrek. Let's say he's a lot more not reserved, but the character is not as funny, not as in your face. But it's a solid story, good action, good character development, funny. Good songs, as I said. So yeah, I enjoyed Mulan. Give it a good 8 out of 10.
Very nice.
Really good. And then I watched for the first time. I think you've probably seen this, Barry. I don't know about you, Joe. The Amazing Spider-Man, the first one with Andrew Garfield in.
No.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, that's pretty much my takeaway from it. Yes, all right. Not as good. This is where Natty, she had seen it already. I hadn't seen it, but I bought it on DVD for €1 in the HMV closing down sale. So.
Oh dear.
I don't think it's not as good as the Tobey Maguire first one. I don't think.
No.
No.
I have to say I do like Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker, as Spider-Man. I think he's charismatic. I think he's likable. I liked Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy. But I think the Lizard is probably one of the weaker villains in any superhero movie I've seen. And I hated the character design of the lizard as well. With stupid face, stupid looking lizard, basically.
I don't even remember this character, to be honest.
Horrible.
I barely remember it. Yeah.
Kurt Connors with his one arm turns into this 10-foot tall lizard. Hideous.
I remember coming out of that movie pretty damn positive on it. Just because I liked Andrew Garfield so much and Emma Stone as well. I thought they were both so likable. They had great chemistry. And I remember, like, my gut instinct was this is nearly as good as, or maybe as good as the first Sam Raimi one. And then I watched that one back and I was like, actually, no. And then I watched Amazing Spider-Man back and I was like, definitely not. So, you know, and it's a testament to great filmmaking that Maguire really, other than having the look, he really wasn't that good. But the movie was really good, and it made the most of him and what's her face who did Mary Jane in that one.
Kirsten Dunst.
Those aren't great actors. Let's just be honest, and they didn't have great chemistry. But those movies are fantastic, bar the third one.
Well, I mean, when you compare Rhys Ifans as the lizard to Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, it's night and day, you know.
And plus, I mean, Raimi is just 10 times the the talent of what's
Mark
what's
Webb.
face Webb. Mark
yeah.
Webb. I mean, this movie. I mean, especially when I rewatched it, it is such a by the numbers, unremarkable superhero film.
It's quite poorly put together as well. Like the first 10 minutes are about like what happened to Peter Parker's parents, and then that just halfway through the movie is dropped and has no resolution apart from a throwaway line where I think at the end, it's not really a spoiler, but towards the end, Peter Parker is listening to an old tape of his Uncle Ben, and he's like, "Peter, I know a lot of things in your life are unresolved," and I was like, "Oh, that's how you're writing all that stuff up? All right." So a lot of stuff they kind of touch on and then never go back to. And then there's the little tease towards the end of Norman Osborn as well. He's like a shadowy figure, which, given that the villains in Amazing Spider-Man 2 are Shocker, Harry Osborn, and Rhino, I'm figuring that that's something that's never going to pay off, given that the Marvel movies are now, or the Spider-Man movies are now Marvel.
Actually, there's less than no payoff because. So first of all, the second movie is bad. It is actively bad.
Well, I have the second movie also on DVD, and I'm probably going to watch it this week. So.
Well, I mean, yeah. Now that you've watched this one, I mean, sure, watch the second one. But first of all, it's actively bad. Second of all, I do think they follow up. If I recall correctly, I do believe they follow up on the parents in some regards. So, in fact, they definitely do. I do recall they do in some regard, but not not in any kind of significant way. Second of all, Rhino. Spoilers. Rhino is actually not in the movie. He basically shows up at the end, and they cut to black and go to the credits just as Spider-Man's about to fight him. So wonderful. This was painfully. First of all, that was ridiculous because they marketed him like he was in the movie. Second of all, this was painfully obviously supposed to be a trilogy because they mention they go to the well of Peter's parents in both films and don't resolve it in the second one. So obviously that was supposed to be followed up in the third one, and obviously the ending of the second one is it feels like they thought this was going to be gangbusters business and critically acclaimed, and obviously it wasn't, and they just killed the third one and struck the deal with Marvel that we now see today, and that we'll see in theaters come June. But yeah. So as well as being a mediocre movie and a bad movie, it's also an unfinished trilogy. So I just consider that whole Amazing Spider-Man arc a complete flop, to be honest.
Well, we'll see.
It's a shame. Like the first one's like not horrible, but
it's fine. I mean, I give it a 6 out of 10. It's passable. Yeah, decent fare. Yeah. That's all I watched this week.
Ready? What about you, Joe?
I watched a movie called I, Daniel Blake, which is a film by Ken Loach about the benefit system. And it's very sad in that, but I didn't think it was a very good film, to be honest. Which is a shame, because it's got kind of rave reviews everywhere and people calling it a masterpiece, but I just felt a lot of the acting was bad and the dialogue felt quite wooden. It's supposed, he does kind of social realism films, but to me it doesn't feel very real. So that was disappointing. But not that it was a bad film. I'd still give it a decent score, but not as good as I was hoping. Yeah. I also rewatched Spotlight and The Big Short. Both very good. Both better than most of this year's Oscar films. So
Really?
probably all of them, really.
Well, obviously I loved Spotlight. Give it the big old 1-0. The big old 6 stars.
Yeah.
I really like Spotlight, but I first of all didn't think it should have won last year, and I thought Moon over Spot, mate.
Which light will win next year?
Moon over Spot. Interesting.
I don't know. I don't know if I would go La La Land over Spotlight, but they are such different films.
I think Spotlight is better than La La Land. I think Moonlight is better than Spotlight, though.
Yeah,
and I think Arrival is better than Spotlight as well.
I keep meaning to watch Arrival. I really should get around to that.
I think it'll probably get to the point where you watch it and it's been hyped up too much now. Where you watch it, and you go, "Oh, it was all right."
Well, I mean, I try not to buy into that. I mean, that doesn't bother me when I go into something super hyped. Because I think when I was younger, I used to, buy into that a little too much. Now it's just like, the longer you're around, the longer we're all on the internet, the longer we see people freak out for every fucking thing. Especially the MCU. When those films come out and like 70% of them are so painfully average and people shit their pants for them, I think I've really become numb to people going ballistic for every little thing that comes out. So yeah, although I did that this week for a film, but I digress.
Okay.
Or is it my turn to talk about films? Actually, is it?
Do you watch anything else, Joe?
No, that was it.
All right, go for it, Bart.
So yeah, I did watch one film this week. I went to see Logan, which is the what is it, the 10th? If you include Deadpool, is it the 10th X-Men movie?
Oh God, that's a good question.
I'm pretty sure I saw it described as such. I mean, X1, 2, 3, Origins, First Class, Days of Future Past, Apocalypse, the Wolverine 1, Deadpool, and Logan. 10 films.
Yeesh.
Don't sound impressed. It is an utterly bizarre franchise in terms of timeline and also quality. I mean, I think we've talked about X-Men a lot on this show because I know, Paul, you watched Origins.
I've seen all of them. Yeah.
You have seen all of them. I have not actually seen.
I've
all
seen
of them.
all 9.
I've not seen Origins, and I have not seen the Wolverine. And people told me the Wolverine was good, but I did not get it.
Well, I have my best to worst X-Men movies in front of me here. I'm interested to see where Logan's going to fall on it. I have the Wolverine as the 3rd best, behind.
You haven't seen Logan yet?
No.
I am very confident that you're going to like it.
I have the Wolverine behind Days of Future Past in 2nd place and X-Men 2 as the best one.
Yeah. So and I was asking people on Twitter about this, like, do I fucking need to see this? Because I tried to make time to watch the Wolverine, but I didn't, and everyone was just like, it's borderline standalone. It is almost. I mean, it's such a good film, and it really is such a good film that you could say to a person, "Don't worry if you don't care about comic book shit. Just go see it." I mean, in the first couple of minutes, they establish, "Hey, he has claws. Hey, he has healing powers, and hey, mutants are basically extinct in
well, I
this
feel like
far-flung future."
Compared to the Marvel movies, which of course are a little bit similar in this aspect, I think the X-Men movies, for the most part, all kind of work standalone. Like, there's not a continuous thread in terms of story through them,
Yeah, and it's especially since, like, they introduced time hopping a couple of films ago, and it's like, oh my god.
But I mean, you could watch Days of Future Past without having seen First Class, and it won't impact your understanding of the story or anything,
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And this one, 10,000% is something just you can just watch, and it's yeah. I mean, you sent me that IGN link, that kind of
To
tried
try
to
to
make
help
sense.
you out understand.
First of all, that was very interesting, and kudos to them for putting it on. Although, and this is just opening a can of worms that is completely unimportant, so I don't know why I'm bringing it up. But where it gets confusing is that Deadpool is in that Origins movie.
Yeah.
And it's just completely not the same story or character as the standalone. But who cares? I digress. We'll move on from
Yeah,
there.
I kind of I tweeted you in the week as well and I know you've not played the Zelda games, but in terms of the Zelda games, all take place with a few exceptions. They all take place in Hyrule. Your Link every time. Ganon is trying to take over the world, and it's like, well, how does this connect? It's like don't really worry about how they connect. Just know it's like think of it. When I say like think of it like an anthology movies where they all take place in the same universe, so to speak, but don't worry about like what order did they or just consider them like Batman Telltale to Dark Knight. They're Batman. Don't worry about why is this penguin different than this penguin? Don't worry about it. It's Batman. Fuck it. X-Men films I kind of feel are that way as well. Is don't worry about differences between movies or why did this happen in this movie? Like don't worry about it. It's
and that I think that is the situation here because there are little nods and winks here. I think there are references that just from my reading that IGN article, pretty sure there are little nods and winks to the Wolverine, and I think even Origins as well. There are several nods and winks here. Obviously, so it's set in the near future. They don't have any ridiculous tech, so it's like if I was to guess, it's like 2029 or 2030 or some shit like that. So it's just like a decade or so in the future. And Logan is despite being alive for decades upon decades and having all the healing powers, starting to slow down a little bit. He's sick. He's in hiding. He's pretending he's not a mutant, and him and Xavier are hidden away because basically mutants have been extinct, which first of all, if you are a longtime follower of the series, is a very depressing setting for the film, considering it's like the whole series is like the civil rights plight of mutants. And then this film, which is going to go down as the best one, I can guarantee you that like history will remember this is the best one. They just jump forward 20 years and say, oh, by the way, they're all extinct by these two. They lost. Everyone got wiped out. And it's like, oh, great. Well, that'll be fun to go back and watch like the original 3 films on a Blu-ray one day, and all those Magneto coming around to the good side and becoming a good guy and realizing they can all work together, and then you pop Logan in and they're all dead. Yeah, and that's even not even really focused on. I mean, that's mentioned in passing in a couple places. So yeah, that's basically the premise. Logan's old as fuck, Xavier's old as fuck, and starting to lose his marbles. And they are hiding away, and they're trying to make ends meet, and they basically have to go for one last adventure. And I am not really gonna go into any details at all about the plot because I was actually quite happy with how the trailers, which really grabbed me. I think a lot of people were kind of blown away by the trailer. Summed up the tone really well, but pleasantly they did not spoil too much. So I'm gonna keep stum on the details, but first of all, it's unapologetically, an R-rated film in the States. It's a 16 here in Ireland, but I watched this and I was like, man, this could have easily gone 18. It's very violent, lots of swearing, and it doesn't feel kind of try-hardy in a Deadpool way. It finally feels kind of natural for Wolverine. You know what I mean? It's the kind of dissonance of him being this crazy character, but no one ever bleeds in his films. That's all gone. It all feels right. Even though it's kind of standalone, the kind of jadedness and the tiredness of the Wolverine character is great. And even having not seen all of them, kind of seeing some of the X-Men films and all the people who kind of died, and obviously Jean Grey was this love interest who's now gone, and all these people come and gone, and so it does feel like he's kind of at the end of his rope. And he's kind of struggling with what's left of his life. But yeah, it's really tremendous. The action is fantastic. It's full of beautiful imagery. It's really well directed. It's is it 2.5 or 2:20? It's your usual kind of long superhero film, but this is a rare example where it was not dragging. It really did not outstay its welcome, and I can't praise it enough. And Hugh Jackman is just out of this world in this film, and he has said publicly that he wants to be done. This is it. You know, he's ignoring Ryan Reynolds' call to do a Deadpool film. I believe he wants to be done, and he is going to be done. And I came out of this film, first of all, blown away at his performance, and kind of looking back on it, and it's like, you know, some of the films were good, some of them were bad, but he's been playing this character for 17 years, and he has been pretty damn fantastic at it every single time. And
just like Kelsey Grammer.
Baby, I hear the blues are calling, so stylish from the legs.
Oh, quite stylish.
Eddie, don't euthanize an entire race of creatures. Wow.
Oh yeah,
But
he was the Beast. So.
Oh yeah, he was actually.
He was.
There you go. So same cinematic universe confirmed.
So yeah.
But like when you think about, like, he's been great in that role. He really has. I mean, and like, you have to respect the longevity, because in that time there has been 2 Batmen, there has been 3 Spider-Men, there has been 1. Has there been 2 Supermen? Brandon Routh and
Cavill.
The current one.
Yeah, and Smallville as well.
So that's 3. I mean, yeah, because there's been 2 Daredevils if you count the Netflix one. I mean, 3 Spider-Mans is the big one. I mean, Jesus Christ. Like, people have come and gone, and just he has been consistently great. And genuinely, first of all, the movie is actually quite sad. I mean, this is so tonally. I mean, obviously, don't bring your kids, because it's blood and guts, and every other word is fuck, and it's unapologetically a movie for adults. But also tonally, it is not fluff comic book stuff at all. It's quite grim. It's quite sad. You know, because you're seeing these characters who you watched for nearly 2 decades at their lowest ebb and at their most hopeless. It's quite sad. But I came out of it, and I was genuinely a little sad that this great character and this great performance are, you know, apparently done forever. I mean, it's comic book movies. I mean, I feel like I think he's even said publicly, if Marvel got the X-Men rights, the MCU, I mean, you know, that version of Marvel, that he would happily come back. So obviously, I'm not saying I don't think we'll ever see him again, but, you know, it's been a hell of a thing, and for such an inconsistent franchise, I'm so glad it ended on this. So I'm very excited for you two guys to see this, because I want you to think about it. It's fantastic. It really is.
It's interesting because I don't remember how many times I've heard that Robert Downey Jr. was done with Iron Man. I feel like I've heard that 3 times now.
To be fair, I'm sure Jackman has said it before with this as well. I mean, it's just, you know, I mean, like I said, look, 10 films, that's fucking a lot. And I mean, based on the trajectory of this series previously, they should quit while they're ahead with this film, because they ain't gonna. I don't see them topping this.
Well, it seems like with the X-Men movies, I mean, they kind of, in the last one, Apocalypse, they definitely shifted the lead character role to Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique. So
she doesn't want to do it either.
Yeah, well, she's shite, so I don't care what she wants.
Yeah,
Die in a fire, bitch, with your big fat face.
No. I mean, pop her in the bin. Don't get me wrong.
But my point is, if you're continuing with the X-Men, because it seems like that's, given that everyone's all old now, Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen's like what, 98 or something. Seems like they're kind of going to continue on with the younger X-Men with Lawrence and Fassbender and McAvoy and them. If you were to recast Wolverine, if Jackman's done with it, who would you cast as maybe a younger Wolverine? Who would be good in that role?
Oh, jeez. I have no idea.
Jackman's just so synonymous with it now at this stage, I suppose.
Yeah, it's like it's hard to remove, and plus, I mean, like, I would love if this was the end of Wolverine, and I would love if this was the end of Jackman. I mean, I don't want him to come back. Honestly,
Whatever.
well,
In any movie.
he can do other films.
Oh, okay, good, yeah.
But like, and honestly, I think it would just be weird to recast him. I mean, in 20 years' time, I'm no fool. I don't think they're going to put the Wolverine character to bed forever. That would be leaving money on the table. But it should be like 5 years at the very least, but maybe more. Yeah. I mean, in terms of casting a younger one, I have no fucking clue.
Ben Affleck.
He's probably
Why
older
not?
than Hugh Jackman.
But
It's like when they recast Sean Connery with Roger Moore. It's like, fuck, he's older than Sean Connery. What the fuck is this? Well, I have a little website here, screenrant.com. This is from last year. It's 14 actors who could replace Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. So you can give me a quick thumbs up or thumbs down, or who the fuck is that? First one, Carl Urban from Dredd and Star Trek. I mean, in Star Trek he does have that kind of surly attitude. I think he'd kind of be good at that. Not sure. Maybe he's a little small though. Carl Urban. You have Charlie Hunnam. I would say no.
I don't know who that is.
He's the guy. He's in Pacific Rim. He has the charisma of a bar of soap. Toby Kebbell. No idea who that is.
No, I don't know who that is.
He was in the Fantastic Four film that came out a few years ago.
Oh.
Anson Mount. He's in AMC's Hell on Wheels. No idea what that is. Alex O'Loughlin. God. From Hawaii Five-0. Don't think so. He's a little old as well. Luke Evans. No.
Here's a name.
Oh.
I don't know what his last name is.
Here's half a name.
Dominic. What's his name? He plays the lead character in Preacher.
Oh, from Warcraft, right? Dominic West.
He's
No.
in it. No, it's not West.
What is
Cooper.
Why? Dominic Cooper.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just. I mean, in Preacher, he plays a scruffy, alcoholic guy with a dark past. So it's like it's somewhat on the nose, but he's very, very good in that show.
Yeah, he's a little too pretty boy, but I can kind of see. That's
He
not
is
a
a
bad
little-
shout.
And he's also a little small. It's an upper body business, brother.
Well, actors are all really small, Barry. They're all like 5'2".
He is a little pretty boy, but he does look younger than Jackman. I mean, he looks like he could play, sort of late 20s Wolverine, maybe. If he shaved and tidied himself up a bit. Yeah. Any other names on that list you're reading that jump out at you?
Jack O'Connell. A weird one here, who I guess they just threw in because he's a big name, but I don't see it. Tom Hardy.
I've heard a lot of people say they want that, but
Yeah.
that's a bit lateral, is it not? I mean, they're kind of similar in a way. I mean, gruff, kind of big
Benjamin
Jack.
Franklin once stated,
Obviously,
"Do not fear
Hardy's younger
mistakes,
than
or
him,
you
but
will
he, I don't know. That I would kind of want to see something that's a bit of a radical departure, like for the MCU Spider-Man, they got an actual child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like let's do something different. Don't go for another buff, sexy Hollywood man.
Get Barry in.
Get me 2 portions of garlic fries.
His stomach is made of adamantium. He can handle it.
I could
Stuffs the claw into 2 portions of garlic butter fries, pulls them out like.
I could play in the MCU. I could be the Sandman because I'm just kind of overflowing from underneath my shirt. Is there some kind of blob villain?
Yeah, he was in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh well, that's
The
taken.
Blob.
Right.
He was played by that guy from Lost. Guy from Lost.